I'd like to start by saying thank you for your time, of course, today. Um, I guess I'll start at a fairly fitting place. You've released a new album soon. Well, that's kind of a contradiction. You released a new album not long ago, The Naked Flame, and this is actually just, I mean, you've released lots of things over the course of your career and everything in music, but this is the first under your own name as a solo artist. How is it different from making some of the other albums you've been involved in?
Well, the process is always the same to me, regardless of how much or how little I contribute. I mean, I just look at it as making music. I mean, a lot of people have asked me about that, and I hadn't thought about it actually. That it's under my own name and it's the first one in however many years. Because to me, I've just been making music the whole time. I mean, and
Right.
produce bands, etc. So it's been kind of the same for me. I mean, at this stage of the game, it's different. I guess.
All right. Well, that's kind of another question I have. I mean, as far as I can tell, it seems like you've pretty much spent most of your life, playing, writing, producing. You've done numerous things in your life. What do you do when you're not, in a rare moment where you're not involved in music?
Um, Play tennis, go to the beach. What else do I do? And listen to music. And that I mean, you mean as far as hobbies, or just kind of the ways I fill my time?
Just ways you fill your time, hobbies, just kind of anything.
Yeah, I could say that, that's what I do. I mean, I love tennis. I learned it about, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago while I was on the road and I was trying to be and one of our record promo guys gave me a tennis racket and said, try to learn this. I also built two compressors. I'm kind of an electronics geek, so I build copies of LA2As, and I have a studio here in New York called New York Head, and that's what I do there. I mean, aside from producing, when I'm not doing that, my head's under the board, like fixing, whatever electronics. And I love that as well.
Very cool. Um, what is your favorite album at the moment?
Hunks and His Punks, the one I produced, unfortunately. Hunks and His Punks is called Too Young to Be in Love. It came out really well, and I think the band's really great. They're actually playing, they're on tour right now. I think they're playing tomorrow night in New York. But yeah, this is my favorite album right now. I also, I mean, it's kind of odd with me because I get in moods and I'll listen to strange things. Someone gave me this like bootleg, a Stones bootleg of Keith singing "Time Waits for No One." The song off of "Ghost Head Stupid," which makes me think it was entirely his song. And he's actually just singing it with an acoustic guitar with all the lyrics and everything. It's like it's better than the album version.
Wow.
I'm a big outtakes fan. I think I base my whole performance and this approach to music from not the finished product that I hear like the bands do, but the outtakes and the things that inherit. It's arrive to get there.
Yeah, I've definitely got to agree with you there. There's lots of songs that you know what I mean. Sometimes they don't come out the best in the end. They're better in their more raw form.
It's true. I mean, it's like helped me to really decide I could be a musician. It's like when I was a kid, I heard the Beatles something or a really raw version of something. And we used to hearing the Beatles sound so completely in tune and polished, and I thought, wait a minute, if they can start like that and then end up like that, there's hope for me. I can do part of this anyway.
Do you have a favorite song to play live?
At present, You Is Dead. I like playing You Is Dead live.
It's a nice.
Because it's just honest. It's just a stripped down song. It means something to me, and it's like it's just this that and a guitar, and the lyrics and the guitar, and I like playing that live.
And kind of another question about the album. I was fascinated when I I read about the fact how you had the musicians play instruments that were unfamiliar to them at the time. And I mean, I know you did it with the intention of maybe making it more spontaneous, or but where did the idea come from, and what made you decide to institute it with the album exactly?
I'm a huge fan of what are considered, well, I guess everyone is, of classic albums. I mean, there are albums that are just stellar from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Sticky Fingers comes to mind. Rain Dogs comes to mind. P.J. Harvey's Desire comes to mind. Williams' Essence comes to mind. You know what I mean? It's just like one thing after the other. And the more, and Exile on Main Street, I mean, I keep doing these Stones references, but I love them. The more you read about and hear about the making of these records, and even any great record, it wasn't just the core band. You know, they brought in people to play this and play that. There's a famous story of Dylan, you know, having Al Cooper like play organ when he really couldn't play organ, or at least not so well. And Dylan goes like, "I want it, keep it." It's like these things that happen are what make, you know, spontaneous and great records. And when I was making this record, I thought, you know, I know lots of incredibly talented people. I mean, that play lots of instruments, but mainly play this or that. I thought, well, let's get him in to do that. Let's get her in to do that. Let's just see what happens, and let it not just be like four people playing in a room, you know, and just churning out the songs. Let's bring in some other elements that change things, you know. I mean, even the Broken Butterfly song, the Lucinda Williams song I do, was a friend of mine in Chicago. His name is Nick Tremulous. He's an amazing guitar player, but he's generally more central. He's like, you know, I don't know, he's safer than I am as a guitar player. And then it's really odd because I said, you know, he says, what do I do? I said, well, I don't know, just pretend you're me. Just do whatever you want. And we switched roles on that, you know. It was like really, it came out really great. So, I mean, I guess to answer your question, it came from this acknowledging the fact that it's not just a band that makes a great record. It's like what the other elements that you bring in, and that's what really kind of twists it and makes it, you know, something special, I think.
Yeah, well, I was really impressed when I read that, because I know it's worked, similar things have worked kind of for other very famous artists, not anywhere near quite that exactly, but I just thought it was a really interesting way of approaching it.
I'm going to try to do it again. I mean, you know, I mean, you never know what's going to get out of people. I mean, especially, I mean, I like what happened in the 90s, kind of, with bands like, I mean, with Portishead and, once again, P.J. Harvey and Public Enemy, these people, like, all the rules just were broken. It's like anything goes. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, there was no sound that was, like, that was taboo. It's like, or any kind of approach that was taboo. You could do whatever you wanted then in terms of making a record, and I like that. So,
yeah,
you know, I like to keep that kind of spontaneity alive.
That's exactly the word. I think spontaneity is a big part of really almost anything in music and sometimes in life in general.
No, it's true. That's true.
As I mentioned earlier, you've done, you know, numerous things in your musical career. I mean, Voidoids and playing with the Clash being, you know, tip of the iceberg kind of thing. Do you have a favorite memory or project amongst all of it?
You know, I do, but no one really knows about it. I was on the road and playing with Shriekback for a while. Do you know this band?
Yeah, I'd heard about that, actually.
Yeah, they were members of the Gang of Four and Ecstasy and, you know, Big Down, and it was a great band. They were like a wild English band. I love playing with them. It was, you know, just, I don't know, it was just rock and roll fun. That's all I gotta say. They were really great. But after I got off the road with them, I was convinced, let's say, that I had to be home for a while. So I did this thing with Sandra Bernhardt. And I played in her one-woman show off Broadway, and then in the movie called Without You, I'm Nothing. That was, I think, the most fun I ever had, because she was just nuts.
Wow.
The true, you know, comedian sense. She was just nuts, and you know, you never knew what was going to happen on stage. It was wild, you know. And the thing was like her giving a monologue, and every once in a while she would break into the song and a song, and then you know. We would back her up, and we had this interactive thing with her, and that was the most fun, I think. I mean, I always, that's what pops in my mind the others, because, I mean, yeah, it was a blast playing with Richard, and
Yeah.
yeah, I still see Richard and everything, but, yeah, that was, to answer your question, to answer Bernhardt.
Very cool. Do you have a favorite punk album?
A favorite punk album?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Mm, well, that's the hardest question you've asked me so far.
It usually stumps people.
I mean, if I had a favorite, I mean, to me, I mean, punk means a lot of things, you know. I mean, it means attitude. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, I could say, yeah, the first Ramones album is a great album. I love that. That's one of those albums too that's like perfect from start to finish. Howard Shelley playing Chopin's Prelude. That's another great punk album. You know, I mean, it might sound weird, but it is. You know, like Chopin was like the Jimi Hendrix of his time. The guy was like fucking just nuts. You know, I mean, in terms of what he delivered. What else? James Brown, There It Is. That's another great punk album. It is. It's like he just like blast from start to finish. I mean, as a matter of fact, when we were rocking Blind Generation and we were rehearsing it, we were listening to this album called Hell by James Brown, and it was like hot. It was 1977, I think, and like, you know, like in a tenement, fucking just sweaty and awful, and Tulsa was blaring in through the windows, and we were blasting this Hell album. And it's a great album if you ever get a chance to. Have you ever heard it?
I haven't actually. It sounds interesting though. I've heard.
It's a double album. There's a lot of crap on it. I mean, but there's a couple of really great songs. One of them is Hell, and in between every song, being James Brown, he puts a gong hit. It's just like stupid and stuff. It's like really great. Anyway, those are my, I guess, my favorite. It's off the top of my head. Between the Buttons is another great punk album. Have you ever heard that?
I guess I haven't.
Between
I'm
the
kinda
Buttons,
sad to
the
say.
Stones album came out like, I don't know, 65, 6, something like that. It has a blue cover of them outside, like all looking weird and wiry and freezing. And the whole thing, I mean, Spend the Night Together is on this record, but I think they just put it on because it was a single or whatever. The rest of it is them attempting to make pop music. It sounds like they're incredibly high on pills, you know?
Well, that's always.
Not heroin, not, you know, marijuana, pills. It really sounds like just kind of cracked and fucked up. If you ever get a chance to catch that, you should. It's called Between the Buttons. It's really great.
Sounds like a recipe for greatness, in my opinion. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
pop music and pills. That's, you know.
Exactly.
You recently produced the Flesh Tones album. I mean, among others, but you also supported the Flesh Tones on their recent tour. How did all that come about?
We have the same booking agent, and I was down in Texas, and I was doing South by Southwest, and she approached me and said, "Do you want to Flesh Tones at the Continental in Houston?" I said, "Yeah, sure. I mean, I love playing, and they're all good friends of mine actually, so." It was just fun to do, and it's always fun to play with them because they're great. They really put it out and everything, and it was fun being at the Continental in Houston as well because I've played there before. I mean, in Houston, I can't remember where it was, but I don't think it was there. That's a really great room, you know. It's a really cool part of town as well. I love it.
It's a very neat little area. It's pretty much like the Garage Rock Club of Houston. If there's somebody that's you know, just kind of in that realm, I think it's the best place, you know. It's a...
Yeah. It's a good room, great stage, you know, nice size. I like rooms that size actually because it's just right for the acoustics. You know, it's not too big and boomy, and you know, I mean, it's just the right. Everybody feels like they're seeing something, and no one's, you know, too far away, and you know, it's good.
You were, I mean, around in punk, and it's very, very infantry. I mean, you're amongst the original pioneers, in my opinion. There's a very famous or infamous article in Time magazine around that time period. Did you notice any immediate change or difference after that article was released?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, those kind of the media. I mean, it's even more powerful these days. I mean, the establishment media, let's call them. I mean, the masses still look to them for direction and opinion, et cetera, et cetera. And when that came out, not too long. Well, soon after that, all of a sudden, I mean, because of Richard's reputation, we always had full shows anyway. But Stevie's became full all the time. It's like, I mean, because it would be like, okay. Whatever, the Talking Heads were playing on a Tuesday night, you'd go see them, and it'd just be, kind of the locals, and it wouldn't be packed. When that article came out, it's like, boom, like, I mean, it just, like, was, all of a sudden, I mean, they had to put police lines up around the club, and before, it just wasn't like that. And the most notable thing was, you started to see designer punk clothes from Macy's. And someone pointed this out to me, and actually went up to Macy's, and I couldn't believe it. And I'm standing there in this store, and there's a ripped T-shirt with safety pins in it. And I'm like, what? I mean, and which was kind of bizarre anyway, because, I mean, Richard was really kind of the only one initially that dressed like that. I mean, if you think about it, the Ramones were in the leather jackets. Richard was the only one in the safety pins. And then that, I mean, of course, got picked up by Malcolm McLaren in England.
Yeah.
And then those punks started dressing like that. And then it got refiltered back into Macy's. And all of a sudden, everyone. I mean, Macy's has ripped designer T-shirts with safety pins. Yeah, that's the main change I noticed. But as I've heard it put, what is it? At first, it becomes a cause, and then it turns into a scam.
That sounds about right.
What happened, actually.
That's one thing I'm always kind of fascinated by, in a way, is kind of the media's kind of, I wouldn't call it an obsession, but just they have an interest in the image of punk, and kind of, in a way, the roughness of it, but they choose like the worst examples, or completely safe bands to market as punk, because I find it amazing some of the places you'll go. I walked into a Target down the street, and I found this picture I took the other day. It's a little girl's t-shirt, and it has, punk rock written all over it, and, a pretty unflattering font for punk, but,
No, it's true. I mean, on a more sober note, call me and everything, and I remember seeing the news screen, Robert Kwan dies of heroin overdose. I mean, which is like, I mean, of course there's much more to the story than that. It was like kind of a subtitle on their ticker tape thing. It's like, okay, punk rock, heroin, you die. That's what
yeah.
That's the end of the story. It's like, kind of, weird,
Yeah, it's, I don't know, strange days these days in general. What new music have you become interested in as of late?
New music? I mean, unfortunately, sometimes you get in a bubble, when you're making music and producing things, and it's generally the things that have come to my studio. Like I said, this band Hunks and His Punks, I think they're really amazing and great.
Yeah.
If I could give a synopsis of them, what they are they're 5 people, 4 girls, okay, and imagine, and 1 guy, and imagine, okay, the Shangri-Las meets Leslie Gore, okay, and like doom, 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 that kind of thing, right? Okay,
yeah.
A lot of the songs are about like that, but played really rawly, but they all sing like angels. These women sing like great, and then the lead singer, Seth, is this really out gay guy. He's like completely out, and he's like singing about guys. So it's like it's so twisted and fucked up and great. I love it. I mean, if you go to their website, you should check it. I don't know if they have any music up there or not, but I mean, they also write good songs, and that's really what it's all about. I mean, I love them. I love a band called $5 Priest. This guy used to be in a band called Speedball Baby, and he has a new band. It's really great. Yeah, I mean, these are my recommendations on. This is what's on my record platter right now. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Do you have any recommendations for anyone trying to start a band, or trying to start a life in music?
Yeah, it's just do it. And I mean, it's really exciting time right now, actually, because the huge, corporate record companies that were basically just loan sharks don't exist anymore. Everything has come full circle back to Elvis and Colonel Tom Parker selling instead of selling records out of the back of the station wagon. And that's what you do. I mean, it's more work, but all that money is yours to do, to make more records. I mean, Jack White. I mean, it's like all these people. They're all doing this kind of thing. It's like you just go in and you create your own entity. I mean, and I see a lot of there's another band called Sediment Club that's great too. But that's another story. But I mean, I feel like all kinds of 20-year-old bands, and they're just doing it because people ask me in New York oh, how did you create such a scene? Like that. It's like, well, first of all, our rents were $100 a month. That helped. But mainly, we just did it. We didn't think about it. It's like this is what we had to do. We were compelled to do it. We had no choice. And that's what I tell anybody else. It's like you have to put yourself in the stance or position that this is what I'm going to do. This is what I have to do, and I have no choice. It's not about becoming a star. It's not. It's about this is my artistic outlet, and this is like I got to make music, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to find a way to do it. And to play. You never know. I mean, the other day, actually, I was talking to this guy from his French label who was sending a band to me to produce. He goes, "Oh, I saw you back in 1978 at CB's." It's like, how would I ever know that this guy, however many years later, saw me there, and now I'm in touch with him? You never know who's watching when you do stuff. So the idea is just to keep doing stuff. I guess that's the answer to your question. Keep doing stuff. Right?
Exactly. I mean, I find it funny. A lot of people seem to think you have to do certain things, or you have to do things a certain way, even when they're in something that's not about conformity. It's against it, or it's against this or that. They still have these guidelines about it, and it's just kind of funny when you think about it. But
yeah, that's the wondrous thing about right now. There are no guidelines. There's
exactly.
Not like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I mean, I know there's this whole thing where there's people that somehow sell on the internet. I mean, and then they end up in Madison Square Garden because their mommy's managing them. Good luck. Whatever. But the idea is I mean, it feels completely open. It really is.
Here's kind of an interesting question. Being an artist, what are some things you have to say about illegally downloading music?
Well, I mean, I think it's a conscientious decision. It's like, okay, you have to ask yourself, am I speaking or am I not? I mean, because people are it's something, imagine yourself walking in front of it by a drugstore, and, I don't know, someone has left a box of shaving cream outside. Okay, well, I mean, you can feel it and go, well, fuck them. They have a lot of shaving cream. I'm going to take this and I'm going to have shaving cream for 6 months. But in essence, you're stealing. So,
right.
I mean, I think if people are selling music, and we have to, it's like, you know what, I have a lot of European friends. If I lived in Holland or Ireland, if the government subsidized me, then I wouldn't have to scrounge around so hard to charge and make money for my music and have people pay for it. But I live in America. This is or anyone actually. I mean, it's like subsidy for the rules just aren't set up for you. They're set up for people to go work in companies, not for anyone trying to be an individual artist. So, my thoughts are, it's just not cool. It's not cool. I mean, that's my thing. Aside from that, I mean, don't get me started. I mean, I know you're a lot younger than me on the whole MP3 thing, because that if you're downloading music and you're downloading MP3s and for free, you deserve it, because you're only getting half of the frequency band anyway. You're not hearing the song. You're not and you'll never get it. It becomes a backdrop for I don't know, for your exercise routine or something.
Exactly. I remember the first time I ever read how an MP3 essentially converts the music digitally, and I felt about sick to my stomach, to be honest. You know.
Yeah, or for, people like me, I have a studio, I have 24-track tape machine, a half-inch tape machine, I also have Pro Tools and all that. But, yeah, I mean, for someone like me that, like, tries to get a really great sound, and then, it's like, this little thing, when they can hear anything, it's like, oh, God. But, I mean, then again, once again, a lot of the younger people I talk to, the 20-year-olds, are all about vinyl. They're all about, like, hearing I mean, when they hear this, they can't believe it's the full spectrum of sound, because, I mean, that's what makes it memorable to you. That's what, gives you the orgasm that you have when you hear, like, a great song. You go, fuck, this is great,
Exactly. Vinyl just has something about it. It's an actual physical entity. It has its own imperfections. It has its own this or that, but that's what makes it real,
I know,
It's different.
I was in another weird mood the other day, and I was listening to Supreme's Greatest Hit, and it was on CD, whatever, but still it was like transferred from tape, and I heard this, this really famous song, I think it was You Keep Me Hanging On or something, this obvious punch. It's like, you heard it on CD, you wouldn't have heard it on vinyl probably because of the vinyl noise, so I'm thinking, that's so weird. It's like, how many times have I heard the song? Like a million times, and like, this is obviously, there's no way she could like come in that strong after it fades out. It's like, it's kind of cool. I love this stuff. Right.
I guess I will kind of give a segue out of this interview. Is there anything you'd like to say to anybody listening to or reading this, depending on how the audio comes out?
I think the audio will come out great. Okay.
I think it will.
This album is, it's out. It's out now, and it's not a culmination. Excuse me, of like, the past 20 years or something like that. Some people have said it's a current album. It's a current album, and it says current stuff. That's it.
All right. Well, I'd just like to say thank you for your time, and thank you for putting out great music.
Thank you very much. And if I come to Houston, I'll be sure to get in touch with you somehow and let you know, and come on down and hang out and stuff. Okay?
Absolutely. I'd love to see you play again.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.